All right, welcome back. So today we're going to talk a little bit about point symbology and also how to change those. This is going to be true for a lot of vector symbology. We're not dealing with point density, that's in another video, but if we want to do it with categories, or if we want to rank it high-low for certain things, this is where this exists. So to do this, one of the things you can do is you can right-click on it and go to your properties. It's going to come up with the last one that you had open. Most people are going to start in information. I was last in symbology, so that's where it brought me. So you go to the symbology layer, which is this one, this third one right there. And then you can click on this top bar and you can see that there are a variety of things that you can have. So the first one we're going to take a look at is categorized. Categorized is for data that is not hierarchical. So looking at names, looking at categories, things that don't have a hierarchy and more or less attached to it, this is going to be ideal for that. This is also going to be specific. You can use it for numbers and text, but if you have text data, this is going to be the only one that is going to be useful in this case. Now you'll notice that a bunch of the different things pop up, and you'll notice that they all have ABCs attached to them. So in this case, we're going to go and we're going to take a look at, let's start with the danger. Let's start with the danger. So we're going to start with the danger and we're going to classify it, and then we have 0 and 1 and all other values. Now, I'm not going to switch the symbology quite yet. I'm just going to apply it and see what happens. So I've got 0, which is most of them, which means they're not in danger, and then I have 1, which is showing that they are in danger. Now, one of the things you can also do is if you want to highlight only one of the categories, you can uncheck the rest of the symbols, right? So these are only the ones that are in danger. This is a really useful way to get around having to select data if you don't want to do that. Now from here, you can change all of the symbols by clicking on this down symbols button. Right, and so this down symbols button is going to let you choose certain things. So right now, it's trying to tell me to choose a different color, but instead I'm going to go over to configure symbol, and then I can start playing around with it here. Right now I've got just this simple marker. If I want to take a look at it and I don't want it to have any sort of outline, I get rid of the stroke color. I'm not going to touch the fill color right now. I want to touch that individually. But then I can also change what kind of point it is, if I want it to be a star, if I want it to be a cross, if I want it to be an X, whatever I happen to want it to be. Right, so this is where you can start adjusting that. I can also start doing other things as well. So if I want to have some sort of geometry attached to it, if I want to start coding that in, I can do that. If I want to instead do something else, maybe I want to have some sort of raster image attached to it. I don't have any raster images, but let's say I did, I could start dealing with it there. So in my case, I'm still going to go back to that simple marker. I don't really want to do anything with it. I'm just going to make that stroke transparent. I'm going to say OK on it. So now you'll notice that this has gotten rid of that in all the cases. Now, one of the other things I can do is I can click on any of the individual symbols, and if I double click on it, it's just going to pull up that symbol. So maybe I don't like this color, and instead I want it to be a little darker green. I want to make sure that I know that it is totally fine. And then this one, maybe I want to make it red to highlight that it is in danger. And then this one, I'm going to flip this one, and I'm going to make it kind of this sort of grayish color. All right, it's all these other values. I don't really have other values. Now let's say I wanted to highlight just the red ones, but I don't want to get rid of the other ones. The other thing I can take a look at and potentially do is I can start adjusting the transparency of the individual things, of the individual markers. And so in this case, I'm going to put all of the other categories to a 50% transparency, and I'm going to hit apply, right? So it keeps all of the data still, but it still really pops out that red data. Now it is pretty messy. There are a lot of points, but this is one way that you can do it. You can also play around with the size and have it so that all of them are smaller. That's going to depend on what you end up wanting your data to look like when you create your map.